Edge Fit CFA Level 1 introduction video. I'd like to use this video for two main purposes. Number one is to introduce to everybody what you can expect from CFA Level 1. What's in the program, the material, the level of work, the amount of time required, etc., etc. But I'll be looking more from the point of view of the CFA itself and what you can expect from CFA Level 1. And number two, I'd like to look at the Edge Fit program. In other words, what you can expect from Edge Fit, the classes that we offer, the requirements that we have of our students, what our students can expect of us, what we expect from them, and all the various materials, notes, questions, exams, etc. that we provide. Okay, let's get ourselves going and start off over here. Number one, first and foremost, let us talk a little bit about the CFA program itself. Very important to remember, guys, that for the very first time now in 2021, and no matter which program of 2021 you're writing, I'm going to take you down to the bottom of this particular document that I'm going to work from, which we call our Introduction and Action Plan. Okay, take us down over here, guys, to the bottom, and it makes no difference if you look over here when you write in 2021, your exam format will be exactly the same thing. Let's have a look over here. Generally speaking, guys, the exam times for CFA Level 1 were supposed to be 4 exam windows. There was going to be, if we look over here, a Feb window, a May window, an August window, and a November window. Now, having a look at those specific dates, they're approximately 3 months apart. Remember, of course, guys, if you do, say, for example, write in the Feb window, then no, you can't write in the May window, and then you could write again, perhaps if you never made it or you never passed the Feb window, then you could write again, yes, in the August window. And same story over here, guys, perhaps if you wrote in the May window, okay, you could not write in August. Okay, and if you never made it, then you would have to write again perhaps in the November window. Okay, so not much has changed essentially from what it was in the past, that you could only write to CFA Level 1 twice a year, and those are your various windows. Now, due to the various COVID restrictions and the fact that not many people could write, and the fact that perhaps CFA is a little bit behind in their testing procedures, because 2020 was a little bit of what one would have to say, a little bit of a write-off of a year in terms of testing. Okay, CFA very kindly offered to throw in a March writing as well, because they're very mindful of the fact that a lot of guys still wish to write, and that a lot of guys are still quite far behind in the writing, and there's not a whole batch of exam centers and things available for people to write, so they have thrown in an additional March window to write. But in terms of these particular exams, the dates and times themselves, please be very mindful that you'll need to look up on the CFA website, okay, or speak directly to the CFA themselves via their candidate services, just to find out exactly when you're writing, how you're writing, etc., etc. They have got many different restrictions. If you've booked here, you can't book there. You can pull yourself out from one exam and re-enter into another exam. If this happens, if that happens, there's a lot of different requirements, guys. Please, I just beg of the guys, okay, be very mindful of the fact that the CFA is quite particular, and they're quite strict, by the way, as well, in terms of the when you can write, how you can write. If you've booked for an exam, when you can pull back from that exam, and you can book for another exam, etc., etc. What if there's no availability for your particular exam in the exam window that you are currently registered for, etc., etc. So, and they're quite firm with us as prep providers. Yes, we are preferred prep providers to the CFA, but they do prefer that the students go directly through them and not through the prep providers. Unfortunately, we cannot be of too much assistance to you guys in terms of helping you to change exam dates, when you can write, etc., etc. That's obviously all within the domain of the CFA themselves, and they like to keep that nicely controlled themselves. Okay, but having said that, guys, it makes no difference then which exam window you are booked for Feb, March, May, August, November, all of them being 2021 exams, guys. Okay, and for all of those particular exams, okay, they are onto the new format. Okay, what does it mean they're onto the new format? For the very first time, CFA, and now it's not just CFA level 1, by the way, guys, it's CFA level 1, level 2, and level 3, okay, have all moved, okay, towards an online format. Everybody. Okay, so everything, all of your exams now, they used to be what we call paper-based testing, PBT. Everything now, guys, has moved to computer-based testing, everything from CFA level 1, 2, and 3. Some good news and some bad news. Okay, some of the good news, okay, is that your actual exam time, okay, has been reduced somewhat. If you have a look over here, guys, in the past, I'm just trying to do a bit of a comparison for the guys that were familiar with the old system and pushing you through onto the new system. On the old system, okay, you used to write for 3 hours. Okay, it used to be 180 minutes. 180 minutes for 120 multiple choice questions. Okay, and guys, that was the old system. And it was all paper based. You had a pencil. You had to color in your ABCs, whatever it happened to be, on your multiple choice questions, and that was how the old system worked. The new system has now gone through to not 120 multiple choice questions, 90 multiple choice questions. So there's a little bit of a benefit. You're getting 30 less questions, but keep in mind that your time has been reduced as well. Not 180 minutes, you've got 135 minutes. So if you have a look, nice and easy to do the maths behind that, guys. Makes no difference which system you are on, old system or new system, you guys have got 90 seconds per multiple choice question. Is that quick? You got to move. Yes, it's quick. Okay, so there we go. So now all that they've done is they've reduced the overall time of the exam from 180 minutes to 135 minutes. Okay, that looks like about 2 hours 15 minutes. Okay, so it's slightly over 2 hours to write your actual writing time. You will be writing on a computer. Okay, remember, guys, it's an exam window. So let's say, for example, we're looking at the current exam window that's coming up. If I take you back over here, that exam window will be anywhere between the 16th of Feb to the 1st of March. For those guys now writing in May, it's going to be 12 May through to 24 May. Okay, and what does that mean when you've got an exam window like this? Because remember, guys, for the guys that wrote in the past, there was an exam day. Everybody knew it was the first Saturday of either June or the first Saturday of December. That's all changed. Okay, now they have exam windows, so you can write anywhere between the 12th and the 24th of May. Now, we haven't got clear direction exactly yet how exactly it works, but I can give you some direction from the guys that write Kaya. And what typically happens is that they will open the exam center. Okay, in South Africa, the guys that write in South Africa write for Kaya. They write with this under the Pearson banner, which means you would go into a Pearson study center. Okay, and you would write over there in the exam study center. Now remember, when you go into these exam study centers, of course, CFA will need significantly larger study centers than Kaya would, just due to their size, the number of guys writing. But remember, there are limited seats. There are limited seats. Now, so for example, on the 12th of May for the May writing, they can, let's say, for example, I'm just giving you by way of example, let's say they can handle 50 people. On the 13th, another 50 people, etc., etc. Which means that they can't accommodate everybody on the same day. What that further means is that the earlier you book, the earlier you register for your exam day, the more likely you are to get the day that you want. And that's how it works on Kaya. My sense is CFA will work in a very similar manner, so try to get in as early as you can. Okay, and then you will book your exam day, and you'll go and write at the exam center. You'll be given a computer to write on, okay, and you'll input all of your multiple choice questions answers onto the computer. Closer to the time, guys, when we hit what we call our revision and exam day, and we take you guys through the practice of that, we'll show you then how to answer questions on the computer, what you can expect. Like, for example, a lot of guys say, Can you? They were so used to writing with a pencil and doing their answers on rough paper. Do you still get rough paper, a blank paper to write your answers on before you transpose those onto the computer? We'll discuss all of that in much greater detail, of course, guys, once we get through to the revision and exam program later on in the course. I'll discuss when we'll do that as well. Okay, let's go back over here, guys, just to show you exactly what's changed. Okay, so your exam format now, guys, the first 30 minutes, guys, you will come into, okay, you'll do your pledge, okay, the tutorial just to show exactly how things work, and a little bit of a survey as well. CFA is very big on their surveys. They like to make sure that they're in touch with their students. Thereafter, we'll start the exam session number 1. Okay. It's a 90 multiple choice questions. Let's have a quick peek over here, guys. It'll be A, B's, and C's. Okay. Lucky for you, you guys are not doing FRM. FRM goes to D as well, A, B, C, and D. And Kaya works in between. They do some ABCs and then they do some ABCs and Ds as well. Okay. 90 questions, 90 seconds per question, and then you are done. Okay. I'm going to come back to this in a second. You get a 30-minute optional break should you wish, and then you back into another 135 minutes, which is your exam session number 2, carbon copy of what you saw in terms of its format as exam session 1. Having said that, it's not exactly the same as the format as you had for exam session 1, and this is again for those guys that are perhaps writing it a second time or were used to writing it either in 2020, if you did get that opportunity, or perhaps even 2019. That's unfortunately how far back some of the guys have to go for the last time they saw this paper. Okay, and in the past, what would happen? All your 10 topics, and here are your 10 topics. I'm just going to take you down a page. Here they are, your 10 topics. There is ethics, quants, economics, FRA, which is financial reporting and analysis. You've got corporate finance, equities, fixed income, derivatives, and alternatives. And by the way, there you can see from 6 through till 9 are your 4 major asset classes: equities, bonds or fixed income, derivatives, and alts. And then you've got portfolio management, which makes up a vast portion of your CFA level 3 material. Okay. Now, what used to happen, okay, in the past, okay, is that all 10 topics were examined in the morning, and all 10 topics were examined in the afternoon, and in proportion to their exam weight, which I'll discuss going forward. Now, what happens now? There's been a change, and they say in the morning you are only going to get the first 4 topics: ethics, quants, economics, and FRA. And obviously 4 out of the 10 come in the morning. And why 4 out of 10, not 5 out of 10? Because, guys, those are the bigger ones. And in the afternoon session, you get the remaining 6. You're going to get corporate finance, equity, fixed income, derivatives, alts, and portfolio management. So basically the afternoon session, guys, as you can see, you're going to get your major asset classes, okay, which is going to be equities, fixed income, derivatives, and alts. Those are your 4 major asset classes, together with corporate finance and portfolio management. A most wonderful afternoon session indeed. Okay. And based on that, what you're going to get in the morning will not then come in the afternoon. So you can get 4 topics in the morning, and you're going to get 6 topics then out of the 10 in the afternoon. Okay. And then you are done. Okay, so quite a few changes, guys, from what you saw in the past. Those that wrote in the past, quite a few changes, of course, one can expect going forward over here. The way they're examining, the amount of questions that they're going to be asking, and what their theory is that with 90 questions as opposed to the older 120, you can still get a very good sense of if the student is on top of the material or not. Okay. A little bit over there, guys, difference between level 1, 2, and 3. Level 1 is really facts. You're going to have, now it's 180 questions, okay? And as often it's referred to as financial or investment trivial pursuit, and they're just throwing question after question after question at you. There's a ton of questions that you've got to be able to be familiar with, okay, and it really comes at you quite quickly. Okay, the good thing about level 1, of course, guys, is to the extent that you don't know an answer, that's fine, you move on, doesn't matter. Okay, if you know the answer, great. If you don't, move on. And it's only one question. They're not linked to each other. You're not going to get question after question linked to each other. And this is part 1 of 10 questions. If you don't know the first part, you're in a little bit of trouble for the rest. That's not how it works. It's a ton of questions being thrown at you at high pace, and you've got to move through them quite quickly. What you don't know, you move on, etc., etc. What we're going to see going on as we start the program, guys, is there are some questions that take a little bit longer than others, perhaps. Okay, and I refer specifically to those on the ethics side. And I often tell the guys, perhaps spend a little more time on the ethics questions, okay, even though you will be going over your 90 seconds. And of course, guys, we will discuss exam technique much closer to the exam day, of course. Okay, but having said that, guys, the closer one gets, okay, we'll be focusing much more on exam technique, etc., etc. But there are going to be different techniques that we use to try and make sure we get through all 180 questions in the most effective manner. Okay, and keep in mind there will be some questions that are a little bit punchier, a little bit shorter, a little bit easier just to answer and quicker. Level 2 talks more about processes, okay, and you need to start to bring the information in together. And level 3 talks a little bit more about, okay, judgment and integration. Okay, integrating the information, and you guys are going to find level 3 is predominantly a portfolio management exercise to a large extent. Most of the stuff is going to be in that particular section. Okay, over our page over here, guys, and let's have a quick look. Remember, guys, I'm still talking about what you can expect from the CFA in your particular exam. Okay, have a look over here, guys. Here is your 10 topics. Again, a little bit of a change now for CFA level 1. Level 2 and level 3 always had it this way. Level 1 has changed now, guys. And what level 1 is saying is that we're not giving you exact exam weights. We're giving you approximate exam weights. Okay, so in the past, ethics was an exact number. Now it's between 15 and 20. Quants, beforehand was an exact number. Again, now it's between 8 and 12%. Okay, now, having said that, guys, okay, we don't have, it was a lot easier to work with CFA level 1 in the past because we knew an exact exam weight. We could tell you how many questions were coming up and how much focus specifically to put exactly on each and every topic. We don't have that anymore, but it doesn't matter. Of course, it's not going to change how we study. It's not going to change how we approach this particular exam. Okay, so what I've done, okay, is if you have a look over here in the third column, okay, over here, okay, keep in mind, of course, guys, that there are going to be 180 questions in total. Okay, that we know, 90 in the morning, 90 in the afternoon, so 180 questions in total. Okay, what I've got over here is I've just taken the 180 questions, okay, and times it by 15%, okay, which is its exam weighting. Okay, oops, my apologies. Okay, and over here what I've done is I've just times it on the upper range by 20%, and that'll give you, you're going to either get anywhere between 27 multiple choice questions if they ask you a 15% weighting, or 36 on the top end. Okay, for ethics, and I've done that, of course, guys, for each and every one of these particular things, so you can get a bit of a sense. And it's not so helpful, to be perfectly honest, because of course there's quite, like, for example, if you look at ethics, there's quite a big range then between, for example, ethics asking you 27 questions or asking you 36 questions. Okay, so there's quite a big difference. Of course, really use this analysis just for that, guys, as a bit of a guide, but not for anything much more than that. Please don't use it as a study Bible of any sort, because it's not that. It's just really here to give you a bit of a guide. Okay, and then I've given you even more of a guide, which is even perhaps even a little bit more vague, I concede, okay, is I've given you what I call the average questions. And you can see it's not an average, is it, by any means? Okay, because if you have a look at ethics, ethics will range between 27 and 36 questions. Okay, and obviously the average of that is 31 or 32 question, 31, 32. I've given my own approximation. I've said let's work on around about 30 questions. It's not a science, it's not exact by any means, guys, and please don't treat it as that. I'm really just trying to give us a little bit of a sense of how the exam could look. Okay, and remember again, guys, I have no idea how the exam will look because we are not given that that look in, and we never will be given that look in, rightly so, because guys, as we start our ethical section, guys, you'll be painfully aware that in terms of standard 7 of the standards of professional conduct, we are precluded, guys, from having any sense of what's in that paper. And of course you guys are not allowed to tell us or tell anyone or even discuss what is in that paper at all. So we'll never really get to know exactly how it works, but if you do sum this, of course, guys, you will get to your 180 questions, being 90 in the morning and of course being 90 in the afternoon. Okay, and that's really just a bit of a guide. What I've tried to do, of course, guys, is try and mimic a little bit of what you can expect. There are your 4 sections that you can expect in the morning paper with 90 questions attached over there. And there are your 6 sections in the afternoon paper with 90 questions attached over there. And guys, I've got to just stress, and I can stress again and the third and the fourth and the fifth time, it's purely an approximation. It's a guide that I've put together myself as part of the EDGE team. Okay, but it is by no means, okay, an exact science by any stretch. Please, please, please. Okay. Guys, we move on a little bit over here, some of the numbers. If one were going to be using the CFA curriculum, and guys, obviously I've got to give great praise to the curriculum because it's a fantastic curriculum, okay, well written, okay, I was about to say concise, but not concise, okay, it's quite detailed, of course, that's why it gets to the 3,156 pages, okay, and that's obviously why a lot of guys turn towards prep providers like ourselves, okay, and of course I've only got good things to say about our fellow prep providers, all good, okay, and that's why people turn to them, is because obviously we make the information a little bit more concise, a little bit easier to digest, etc., etc. Okay, but having said that, there's nothing wrong with the CFA syllabus. By no means, it's a fantastic syllabus, and the material is fantastic, and they're doing more and more for the student day by day. Okay, but it's a vast syllabus. There's 1,634 end of chapter questions, also fantastic questions from the CFA guys. Please do have a look at those as well. Learning outcome statements. Learning outcome statement, guys, what you would have is you're going to have, it starts off at the top. Okay, now the top is study sessions. Study sessions, okay, there are 19 study sessions. Okay, in fact, if we wanted to break it down even further, we could say, well, how many topics are there? There's 10 topics. Okay. How many study sessions are there? Okay, we break it down even further. For CFA level 1, there are 19. And what that means, guys, is that you're going to find that certain study sessions, certain of the topics, for example, over here, I'll just pick on any of them. For example, I'll go for the most extreme, okay, financial reporting and analysis, which is what we know to be top 1 topic. So if I have to put over here FRA, financial reporting analysis, how many topics? Of course, it's just the 1 topic, but it comprises 4 study sessions. So you can see the volume of the work over there. Okay, and once you move down from study sessions, you look over here. I'm just going to take you from there. Okay, we look at the various readings. Okay, how many readings? I don't know it offhand, but if memory serves, there's round about. Okay, well, I mean, we know the total. The total is 57. Okay, 57 readings. If memory serves, there's approximately 12 readings for FRA, and then we come to this last thing called learning outcome statements. Now, the learning outcome statements you can see over here are 520. Now, these learning outcome statements relate, of course, to the reading. So within each reading, you will have, let's say, for example, 10 learning outcome statements. In other words, coming out of this particular reading, you must then be familiar with the following learning outcomes. Of course, they relate back to the reading relates back to the study session, and of course, the study session then relates back to the particular topic from which it came. Okay. And obviously for FRA there will be, I don't know, maybe about, I'm just giving an approximation, maybe about 120 perhaps, something like it, but a lot. Okay. Guys, I hope you can see this is how CFA works. CFA work top end, which is topics, then they move down to their study sessions, which are 19 study sessions, 57 readings, and learning outcome statements. Okay. So in terms of learning outcome statements, okay, there are plenty of those. And the way that the Edge notes work, and I'm assuming most of the providers as well, okay, is we cover each and every one of these learning outcome statements. All 520 are covered in our notes in great detail to make sure that you are completely covered for the entire CFA Level 1 syllabus. Okay, those are what we call our learning outcome statements. Of course, guys, we've also got notes. We've got 57 chapters for you, which correspond then to the 57 readings. Okay, and then of course notes on each and every single part of the syllabus. Okay, that is the CFA. Now let's just talk about it a little bit. Let's talk general. Okay, here we have spoken about this a little bit earlier. There is your exams. Okay, you've got Feb. Typically in CFA Level 1 you are going to have the 4 exams, the Feb, May, August, November windows. What's actually lovely is that CFA Level 2 and 3 have also moved away from paper-based testing to computer-based testing, and they will be doing, instead of 1 writing a year in the past like they did, they are now moving also to 2 writings per year, which is also fantastic because that just gives so much more variety and flexibility to the student. Okay, guys that are writing CFA Level 1 for the first time, just please be very, very mindful of your calculator policy. There are only 2. There's the Texas Instruments, it's the BA2, that's the calculator, it's called the Texas Instruments BA2, and then there's the HP12C. Those are the only 2 calculators that you can use. Nothing else. If you come to the exam with another calculator, they're going to send you, we're not going to send you home. They'll let you write, but it's not much fun to write investment finance based exam without a calculator. They will not let you, and guys, I can tell you from past experience, I've written so many of these papers in the past, okay, even though there may be other people there at the exam center together with you, okay, that have also perhaps got a spare calculator, nobody, okay, very few people or nobody will be lending you their spare calculator if you come with the wrong calculator. So just a bit of exam technique. Of course, guys, please make sure you've got the right calculator. Of course, you need to be practicing with the calculator as well, time and time again. Number 1 and number 2 is, of course, make sure you bring the right calculator, of course, to the exam center when you write. Okay, that's the text, and most of the prep providers that I've dealt with in the past, okay, most of them are using the Texas Instruments as their calculator of choice, which they give instruction based upon. So it's the Texas Instruments, and it is the BA2. There's the normal one, which is what we call the plus, and then there's the professional one as well. You can get either one of these calculators. Either one is fine. I recommend the general one, the stock standard one. The professional one has got a few additional features, but nothing that will warrant additional cost. I generally tell the students to go for the BA2 plus. Okay. Generally speaking, guys, in terms of CFA approach, guys, no questions are repeated. They love to give you new stuff all the time. Okay, you can expect something a little bit more difficult. We try and give you slightly more difficult questions because obviously that'll prepare you a little bit better then for your exam, so you are nice and ready for something a little bit more difficult as opposed to just the stock standard stuff. They don't repeat. They don't tend to repeat stuff time and time again. Okay, at Edge, we work with what we call the 4 C's approach. Let me just clean up over here so we can see this nicely. Okay, and what is our 4C's approach? Okay, some of them are nice and easy to see. The first one is your consistency. Okay. Now, in terms of the consistency, guys, when we talk about consistency in terms of our philosophy at Edge, okay, it means everyday work. Every single day work, and we don't prescribe to anybody when they should be working. Should that be an hour in the morning? Should that be an hour in the afternoon? No. Okay, you work when's best for you. Okay, but what you are going to find is, and this is the difficulty, guys, is all of a sudden you're going to have to find another hour, hour and a half every day, okay, to work, which, and I'm quite convinced that nobody was messing about before, that you had so much spare time on your hands. So it is a bit of a challenge, guys, but what we far recommend to the guys over and above, okay, any other approach is what we call the consistent approach. Now, in terms of this approach, which we call the consistent approach, okay, we recommend that the guys, girls, okay, do work every day. Don't come a month before and try and put in 8 hours a day. That generally doesn't work. It works for some, but generally speaking, for the most part, it doesn't work. Okay, and the consistent approach, the everyday work approaches. Okay, and what we say with that, guys, don't try to find, I had a student that contacted me and said to me, could I please have a look at their study approach? And yes, guys, of course, with pleasure. Anybody that does want assistance, please reach out. With pleasure, I'm here to help you with your approach. We don't necessarily give out a calendar. I find that's a little bit counterproductive, and the reason for that is because everybody's different. So I always like the guys to try and put together. I'll give you a bit of guidance, of course, at the end of this video, but generally speaking, everyone puts theirs together, and of course I'm available here to assist anybody with trying to finalize their study calendar, study approaches. But I had one guy that came to me and said, can I have a look at his calendar? And I said, with pleasure. And this is how his calendar looked. It started off, okay, this was his day. If I just had to show it to you over here, okay, it was 3:30 a.m. Yes, that's in the morning. He would get up, have his coffee, meditate, gym, and just get himself ready. By 4 o'clock he was gymming. Good for him. Okay. 5 o'clock he was done, showered, and etc. And he was at the office at 5 a.m. and he would work 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Okay, so if we had to look at how many hours that is, that's 3 hours of actual study. Okay, work a full day, okay, and that would go on all the way through till about 6 p.m. when he finished his work. Okay, and he was a bit of a gymmer. Good for him. It's always good, guys. It's always good to keep the brain active. Okay, he would go back to the gym 6 till 7 p.m. Okay, come home 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. and that was for things like dinner, R&R, etc., etc. And then he would work again, okay, from 8 p.m. through till about 11 p.m., which would give him my apologies, that would give him another 3 hours of study time, a total of 6 hours. That was weekdays. Weekends was just off the charts. Okay, but if you do a quick sum, that would give him from 11 p.m. to about 3:30 a.m. That's that time loop back there, about 4.5 hours of sleep. Okay, 4.5 hours of sleep. And what would I tell you about that? Not enough. Okay, well, I shouldn't say not enough, because there are certain crazy people of us that can in fact function on that, but guys, very few can work on that amount of sleep. Please don't try it. Not recommended. And he said to me, what do I think about the schedule? I said, I think it's a fantastic schedule for January. He said, but the exam's in May. I said, yeah, I know. So he said, why do I think it's only good for January? Because I said to him, I think you'll be dead by the end of January on such a schedule. He didn't take too kindly to that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I always tell you guys what I believe to be in your best interests. It doesn't benefit me at all, but I always tell you what I believe to be in your best interests. Now, what do I believe to be in your best interests? Okay, I know the work schedule. I know I've been in the investment field for a very long time. I worked in private equity for 10 years. So I've been around a little bit. Okay, and I know that workloads, work schedules are heavy at the moment, and particularly now as everyone's looking to keep their jobs. Okay, so when we talk about our first C, guys, being consistency, okay, it's an everyday approach, and I'm looking, guys, really at one, maybe if you're able to 1.5 hours a day, and then 8 hours on the weekend. When I talk about 8 hours on the weekend, guys, I'm talking about 4 hours on Saturday and 4 hours on Sunday, so that there is still quite a bit of time for your families, for you to keep your heads about you. Or you may want to say, well, listen, I want to work all day Saturday, put in a full 8 hours Saturday, and then perhaps only work and then not work at all on Sunday. Okay, now if you can get a schedule like this together, guys, round about 1.5 hours a day, okay, which will be about 7.5 hours per week, weekday hours, guys. Okay, work on about 7, add an 8 on the weekend. You're getting around about 15 hours a week, okay, which would give you approximately, okay, 60 hours a month, times your 5 months, 6 months. I always like the guys to extend the program a little bit longer if they could. If they can't, be that as it may, okay, you're getting your hours in. And remember, of course, guys, you would keep up this exam type of study and schedule all the way till probably about, I don't know what, a month and a half before, and then of course you're going to have to extend it just a little bit. This is the consistent approach that we talk about, but of course, guys, this 15 hours per week will not be enough. For example, 1 month before the exam, then obviously hopefully some of the guys will get some leave, some annual leave, some study leave, whatever it happens to be, and then of course you can get more hours. I'm a big proponent. I was very excited at one point that I wanted to register a website called 400hours.com, because I see there is one called 300hours.com, I think, something like that. Lovely website, of course, okay, but I don't believe it's enough anymore. Okay, I'm a big believer that, guys, you've got to put more time in. The competition is fierce. Okay, you've got to be putting in a little bit more time than those 300 hours. I'm looking closer to 350 to 400 hours. Yes, it's that much. Okay, there's no most of the providers are quite honest with the guys. I did come across one provider that said they've got this approach that will halve the time that you need to study, make everything so much easier, guys. It's not easy. You can't halve the time. It really is about a lot of hard work. Who will be successful will be the person that is consistent, that works consistently, okay? And coming to our second C over here, guys, okay, the person that exhibits, okay, and if you look over here, okay, the most amount of, I do hope I'm spelling that correctly. That's our second C is commitment. But of course, guys, for the most part, those guys that are in the program thus far are committed to the CFA and committed to getting their CFA for whatever reason they want to get it. Some want to get it for job prospects, some want to get it for prestige, some want 3 little letters at the end of their name. I even had a surgeon, a medical surgeon, come into CFA with me a few years back. So each person to their own. Okay, that's the commitment, guys. Okay, and no, there's no shortcuts. No, there's no tricks. There are various ways that one can maximize your time, maximize your studying. Yes, I'm fully on board with all of that, and there are some lovely techniques out there. But guys, just remember, it's going to be a consistent, hard slog. It's what it is. And if you're looking for the shortcut, the trick, okay, there was one guy, I don't know where he was from. I don't want to say too much more than that, but he kept on telling the students that he managed to pass CFA level 1 with 30 hours worth of work. And I'm saying, look, whatever, please stop telling the students this. Now either one, you're lying, which my sense is could well be the case, okay, in which case, get off LinkedIn, really. Or number 2 is, even if it is true, okay, perhaps you're an exceptional student. Perhaps you came from an exceptional financial background and this was really just a cap on that. Perhaps you're a doctorate in finance. I don't know. But generally speaking, for the stock standard normal student, it's going to take 300 to 350 hours. You cannot do this in 30 hours, guys. I'm sorry to, I hope I'm not upsetting anyone with that bad news. Okay, the next C I want to talk about, okay, which is what I'm going to call this one concentration. And when I talk about concentration, guys, we talk about focused work. I'm just trying, I should have rather called it F for focused work, but I'm trying to keep everything in terms of the C's. And in terms of concentration, guys, what I mean over there is when you do your hour of work, your hour and a half of work, make it count. Okay, I get so often the guys come and tell me, oh, they sat for work and they worked for like, 4 hours. And I said, well, what did you study last night? I'm not really sure. Oh yes, it was a little bit, but nothing, no clarity, guys. Far better in terms of concentration and focused work that you put a good hour in than 4 sloppy, tired, exhausted hours. If you are too exhausted to study, I always tell the guys, what I always recommend is um, put yourself on the couch for half an hour, rest for half an hour, then get back to work again. And if that's not working and you're just too tired to work, guys, okay, in terms of the consistency, I can always go back to rule number 1. In terms of the consistency, do 2 minutes worth of work and then go to bed for the night because you're just too tired. That's fine. Why do I want you to do 2 minutes worth of work? Because then you at least stick in the program. Whereas if you don't do the 2 minutes worth of work, then you're out of the program. What are you going to do tomorrow? Nothing, and then you miss a couple of days. And guys, in this program, you cannot afford to miss a couple of days. So we want focused, concentrated work. But again, if you're too tired, then guys, take a break and then try and get back to your work. If you're not able to, do a minute or two's worth of work, 5 minutes worth of work. I always tell the guys just do a little bit of ethics just to keep in the ethics section, and then go to bed and carry on tomorrow when you are much more able to, fresh and able to work. And our last C, okay, is to keep calm. Okay. Now, when I talk about keep calm, I'm talking about keep calm, keep relaxed, keep a stable life. You cannot keep this insane level of work going for 5-6 months, guys. Okay, so I always say keep calm. If you are gymming, keep gymming. If you're eating healthy, keep eating healthy. Okay, if you're not, well then don't. I wouldn't start anything brand new now, of course. Okay, but if you go to watch movies and that's you're relaxing, go and do that. If you go for a drink, go for a drink. Whatever happens to be, okay, keep up that calm. Go for a walk the dog, walk the cat. Okay, whatever it happens to be, guys, but keep a calm and relaxed and an even keel lifestyle. That is also a big secret to the success of this particular program. Okay, and remember, end of the day, guys, I've given you 4 C's: commitment, consistency, concentration, and calm. And remember, again, all of these 4 C's are really just to get the 5th C, okay, which is CFA. But remember what it is, guys, it's just CFA. It's not life. It's not the be-all and end-all of your entire life. We're giving you techniques to try and get the 5th C, which is the CFA, but the CFA is not everything. Okay, there are other things in life as well. Do not let it cause you that much stress that it really upsets your entire life. Okay, you keep calm, you keep relaxed, and you focus on the importance of CFA, of course, but how it fits into the overall picture of your particular lifestyle. Okay. And guys, the last little bit over here, which I want to focus on, is the actual EDGE program itself. Okay, we give you a full set of notes. It's got notes, summaries, it's got questions, checkers at the end of every chapter, every reading. It's got answers to those as well. We give you a formula sheet. Okay, at the end of the program, guys, we're going to go through a 3-day revision program, 6 exams at the end as well, which we provide to you as well. Okay. A ton of stuff. Now, how does our program work? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you our 2 major programs. Over here, let's have a look. Now, our first program is a completely online program. Now, should you go for the completely online program, okay, what that gives you, it gives you every single one of the topics, all 10 topics, of course. And what does it give you? So let's talk over here. Number 1, which is a completely online program. What do you get? Okay, well, you're going to get a complete set of notes on everything. Questions, summaries on everything. Okay, you get a formula sheet. Okay, you also get see what else, you get videos, and these, and guys, yes, these are pre-recorded videos on each and every single, okay, set of notes, on each and every single reading, okay, completely comprehensive. There's approximately 60-70 videos altogether, guys. There's a lot for you guys to go through, of course. Okay, at the end of it, of course, you get a pre-recorded revision course. Okay, and of course you get your 6 exams as well. That's the online program. Okay, if you move to what we call our blended option, our blended option is exactly the same thing as the online, other than, okay, is we have exactly the same, I'm just going to call it as above, what you saw there, but plus we got some live sessions as well. And of course, when I say some live sessions, due to COVID, they're not live as in as face to face. They are live as in everybody's favorite Zoom. Okay, and how this works, guys, is, let's say, for example, let's take a look at the timetable over here, guys. Okay, ethics and professional standards, which is study session number 1. Okay, I want you to have completed that, guys, and I'm talking now specifically for the May program. Obviously, this will differ then, of course, for the August and November programs. The Feb 2021 program is almost over. We're really just going to be running into a revision course for that. Okay, nothing much more involved in that one. Okay, revision exam program. Okay, when I look over here, guys, okay, so let's look for the May program. So by the 21st of Jan, Thursday, I want you to have covered all the material for study session 1. Where will you find all the material? All of the material is contained in our Google platform. We use the Google Classroom, so everything is contained there. Once you register for the program, of course, you'll be given access via our admin department to the Google Classroom. Okay, and over there it'll tell you everything is there for you, and to be completed then by the 21st of Jan, ethics and professional standards. Okay, that's the day. Okay, then what do we do? Okay, is we then have a look and say, over here, guys, we're going to meet for the very first time. Okay, over here, if I show you here, our very first lecture will be on the 14th of Jan. It's a Thursday, 5:30 till 7:30. We probably won't need that much time, but because it's just an intro section, and that's what we'll be doing. Okay, and that'll be live on a Zoom session. If we move to, and that's obviously just an introduction, so obviously there's not that much work covered over there. Let's have a look at the material itself. So lecture number 1, I want you to have covered ethics, and by when, guys? Okay, by Thursday the 21st. When we then meet, guys, on that particular day, okay, which will be the 21st of Jan 2021, we will be doing study session 1. By then, yes, I have assumed that you have gone through it. Okay, dates to be completed by over here, 21st of Jan. I've assumed you've gone through number 1, you've gone through all the notes, and number 2, you've gone through all the videos. Okay, and that'll apply, of course, both to the online guys and to the blended guys. Okay, that you have gone through both of those together. Okay, what then is the purpose of our meeting, our live session? When then we meet over here, is we will discuss. It's a twofold purpose to have the live session, and this is, of course, where the blended approach adds so much more value, of course, guys. Number 1 is we will be going through what I call any difficult concepts, or any points that I really want to highlight. Of course, guys, being a 2-hour session, okay, I can't go through every single thing with you, and that's why I have assumed that by the time you enter the session, you guys have seen the notes already. Okay, and you've seen the videos as well. I'm there to go through difficult contests with you. And number two, I'm going to be doing some lovely detailed questions with you to integrate the knowledge that you have gained from the videos and from the notes into being able to answer exam questions thereafter. And we go through it that way, guys, and you can see here's your timetable. It is demanding, of course it's demanding, it's a tough course. Here's the Zoom sessions, the timetable there. Once we are finished the Zoom sessions on the 15th of April, guys, which will be a Thursday, you get from 7:30 p.m. you get yourself an hour or two to have some dinner and perhaps a small movie or a drink or something little, and then we start the very next day, guys, for our 3-day revision course, which is 16th, 17th, 18th of April, 3 days. Full days. Okay, and again, will that be live? Will that be face-to-face? Guys, I have no idea. That'll depend completely on COVID. Okay, I'm sure that's a word everybody knows by now, and depending on where we are and what we're allowed to do. But I will not put anybody at risk, of course, guys. So good chance that'll still be pre-recorded or Zoom type sessions as opposed to being live. But again, that'll all depend on what happens with COVID and of course with the vaccine as well. Okay, we look at the exam course timetable. You look over there, guys. Okay, and then we're going to give you 6 exams to write to practice on the computer, of course, just to make sure you are familiar with answering on a computer, just to get used to that particular thing. As I don't want the guys practicing too much on paper, because then you get used to writing on paper, and that's not going to mimic what you're going to be doing on exam day. Okay, so there we go. And that'll be your exam practice. Finish up on the 15th of May, and if you have a look over here, if I take you back a page, 15th of May, okay, will be your last time, which will, for the most part, will be in time for you to write your May. We may need to push that exam a little bit ahead for some of the guys, okay. Just that last exam perhaps by a couple of days to make sure you fit within the exam window, depending on, of course, when the guys write their various exams. All right, and guys, that is the end of our particular story. Okay, all the details over there. If anyone wants any further details, of course, okay, let me just provide you my email address. At ebs.co.za. Might have been appropriate, of course, at the beginning of this video to give you my name, Russell. Okay, sorry about that. There we go. Okay, and of course, guys, if you want to visit the website, you can register directly on the website, of course, as well, or you can just go and get some more information over there. All of our brochures are there as well, which will give you some more information, and that's edgefit.co.za. I'm sure you're going to have to put a www in front of that as well. Okay, that's all the various information. Of course, guys, please feel free to reach out. If I can help with anything, please reach out. We'll see you on the program. Best of luck, guys, and go out there and kill it.